Hey queers, welcome to the Queerspeak podcast. This is sound editor Elisa Derrickson. Our show this month was hosted and arranged by Aaron Doolin at the Project Lodge in Madison, Wisconsin. It was a very cold night. It was one of those nights that makes you think about how when you were a kid, you thought it was going to be really romantic to grow up to be an artist and how you'd be willing to struggle for your art and you'd be willing to be poor for your art. And then you find yourself in adulthood in a very cold room wearing your gloves while you clap for somebody's awesome performance. The following podcast is rated PG-13 for profanity, violence, and graphically sexual content.
Hey queers. Thank you. I think that's like the best callback that we've had in the months I've done this. I'm really happy to be here the night before Thanksgiving and spending the eve of my holiday with you. This is my chosen family. So thanks for coming out. Thank you. And thanks to those of you who brought baked goods. I'm the one who put on the list and didn't even bring shit. So I'll admit that I suck. So thank you for bringing stuff. Angel brought amazing brownies. The sign-up sheet is on the table to the right back there. So if you haven't signed up, please do. You can sign up more than once if you'd like. Although the second time will be debatable based on your first performance. Okay. So, bathroom in the back. Stacy said it's really cold, so you might want to take your coat back there. Alright, cool. And there's a little bit of toilet paper, so use sparingly. Yep, exactly.
There's a nice roll of paper towel in there, though. If you
there
need
is.
to go heavy duty,
Right, but I might suggest just tearing that in half. We have our own mic tonight, which is amazing. I know, there's a lot of quiet last month. Okay, so Kathleen's going to start us off, and before Kathleen, you come up, so tonight there's some media trying to happen. Elisa is recording some sound. I brought my camera to take some pictures so we can sort of liven up our Facebook page. And if you haven't been to our Facebook page and liked it, please do, because it's awesome. And if you don't want your picture taken or something recorded, please let us know, and we will cease to do so. So Kathleen, start us off.
Hello. So the next holiday in sequence is the one that I like least of the year, but in mockery of that one, I have a tendency to make Mythical Figures Day, aka Christmas Day, songs in mockery. So I'm going to be singing 3 songs. One is Oh Holy Shit. Also, we'll be singing a little Tchaikovsky. You'll know that one, you just don't realize it yet. And I'll finish with one that you guys have heard before, some of you, Santa Claus is Gay. Oh, holy shit, it is Salvation Army ringing their bells. I think they want my change. Long lay the carts where I could just go grab one till they appeared and they're blocking my way. A thrill of hope, perhaps another store, but my heart breaks, they're blocking every door. Fall on your knees, oh please, just slip a little. It's mine, my change is mine. It's mine, it's mine. My nickels and dimes and quarters and pennies, my change is mine. Okay, the next one is Tchaikovsky. Like I said, it's Ode to Ice, and you actually know some of the words to this, so if you want to join me on the doots, go for it. Please let me explain why I'm in such pain. I stepped out the door and fell to the floor. Doot, 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 doot. The ice was like glass. I fell on my ass. I fell on my tush with a squish, and I've broken everything. Doot, doot, doot. The last one's actually a sad song, but you won't believe it at first. Santa Claus is gay. I heard it on the news today. It's true that Santa Claus is gay, and Mrs. Claus was always just a friend. And in the workshop all the elves are whispering among themselves, wondering how to break it to the reindeer. And I don't believe in Christmas anymore. I'm not quite sure what we've been waiting for. No, I don't believe in Christmas, can't you see? This holiday is not for me. I heard it on the news today. They're taking all the elves away. To foster care the little tykes will go. The Christmas father isn't safe to care for any little waif. You know you just can't trust that kind of man. And I don't believe in presents from the tree. Don't hang a stocking up for me. They took our Christmas cheer away when they found Santa Claus is gay. I heard it on the news today. The bank has repoed Santa's sleigh. His toys for kids all thrown out in the snow. What once was given now is sold, and Santa with his heart of gold can only cry and wonder what he's done. And I don't believe in Christmas anymore. I'm not quite sure what all this hate is for. No, I don't believe the Christians, can't you see, who say their God just won't love me.
Thanks, Kathleen. Can I get this on CD so I can have something compete with my Mariah Carey Christmas over It can be a close second, but I'll give it a go. All right, Stacy has something for us. I'll read what she wrote in the description, so it'll be a surprise.
Good evening, queers. I'm going to be reading an excerpt from Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs, which is by Chuck Klosterman, a person who is far more sarcastic than myself, which is a feat. I've been feeling somewhat bitter and sarcastic myself, so the only way to combat that, I find, is to read someone who is more bitter and sarcastic than myself. There's a bit of a warning. He is a little gender fail, just a little. So no harm intended. It's mostly for the social commentary. No woman will ever satisfy me. I know that now, and I would never try to deny it. But this is actually okay, because I will never satisfy a woman either. Should I be writing these thoughts? Perhaps not. Perhaps it's a bad idea. I can definitely foresee a scenario that first paragraph could come back to haunt me, especially if I somehow became marginally famous. If I become marginally famous, I will undoubtedly be interviewed by someone in the media, hopefully Charlie Rose if he's still alive, and the interviewer will inevitably ask, 15 years ago, you wrote that no woman could ever satisfy you. Now that you've been married for almost 5 years, are those words still true? And I will have to say, oh God, no. Those were the words of an entirely different person, a person whom I can't even relate to anymore. Honestly, I can't imagine an existence without fill in the blank. She satisfies me in ways that I never even considered. She saved my life, really. Now, I will be lying. I won't really feel that way. But I'll certainly say those words, and I'll deliver them with the utmost sincerity, even though those sentiments will not be there. So then the interviewer will undoubtedly quote lines from this particular paragraph, thereby reminding me that I swore I would publicly deny my true feelings. And I'll chuckle and say, come on, Mr. Rose, that was a literary device. You know, I never really believed that. But here's the thing, I do. I do believe that. It's the truth now, and it will be in the future. And while I'm not exactly happy about that truth, it doesn't make me sad either. I know it's not my fault. It's no one's fault, really. Or maybe it's everyone's fault. It should be everyone's fault, because it's everyone's problem. Well, okay, not everyone. Not boring people, and not the profoundly retarded. But whenever I meet dynamic, non-retarded Americans, I notice that they all seem to share a single unifying characteristic: the inability to experience the kind of mind-blowing, transcendent romantic relationship they perceive to be a normal part of living. And someone needs to take the fall for this. So instead of blaming no one for this, which is kind of cowardly, or blaming everyone, which is kind of meaningless, I'm going to blame John Cusack. All right. I once loved a girl who almost loved me, but not as much as she loved John Cusack. Under certain circumstances, this would have been fine. Cusack is relatively good looking. He seems like a pretty cool guy. He likes The Clash and The Who, at least. And he undoubtedly has millions of bones in the bank. If Cusack and I were competing for the same woman, I could easily accept losing. However, I don't really feel like John and I were competing for the girl I'm referring to, inasmuch as her relationship to Cusack was confined to watching him as a two-dimensional projection, pretending to be characters who don't actually exist. Now, there was a time when I would have thought that detachment would have given me a huge advantage over Johnny C, inasmuch as my relationship with this woman included things like talking on the phone, and nuzzling under umbrellas, and eating pancakes. However, I have come to realize that I perceived this competition completely backward. It was definitely an unfair battle, but not in my favor. It was unfair in Cusack's favor. I never had a chance. Fake love is a very powerful thing. That girl who adored John Cusack once had the opportunity to spend a weekend with me in New York at the Waldorf Astoria, but she elected to fly to Portland instead to see the first U.S. appearance by Coldplay, a British pop group whose success derives from their ability to write melodramatic alt-rock songs about fake love. It does not matter that that Coldplay is absolutely the shittiest fucking band I've ever heard in my entire It doesn't matter that Coldplay is absolutely the shittiest fucking band I've ever heard in my entire fucking life, or that they sound like a mediocre photocopy of Travis, who sound like a mediocre photocopy of Radiohead, or that their greatest fucking artistic achievement is a video where their blandly attractive frontman walks on a beach on a cloudy fucking afternoon. None of that matters. What matters is that Coldplay manufactures fake love as frenetically as the Ford fucking Motor Company manufactures Mustangs, and that's all this woman heard. For you, I bleed myself dry, sang their blockhead vocalist, brilliantly informing us that the stars in the sky are, in fact, yellow. How am I going to compete with that shit? That sleepy-eyed bozo isn't even making sense. He's just pouring fabricated emotions over 4 gloomy guitar chords, and it ends up sounding like love. And what does that mean? It means she flies to fucking Portland to hear 2 hours of amateurish UK hyper slop, and I sleep alone in a $270 hotel room in Manhattan. And I hope Coldplay gets fucking dropped by fucking EMI and ends up like the Stone fucking Roses, who are actually a better fucking band, all things considered. I'm skipping here. I remember taking a course in college called Communication and Society, and my professor was obsessed by the belief that fairy tales like Hansel and Gretel and Little Red Riding Hood were evil. She said they were part of a latent social code that hoped to suppress women and minorities. At the time, I was mildly outraged that my tuition money was supporting this kind of crap. Years later, I have come to recall those pseudo-savvy lectures as what I loved about college. But I still think they were probably wasteful, and here's why. Even if those theories are true, they're barely significant. The Three Little Pigs is not the story that is fucking people up. Stories like Say Anything are fucking people up. We don't need to worry about people unconsciously absorbing archaic secret messages when they're 6 years old. We need to worry about all the entertaining messages people are consciously accepting when they're 26. They're the ones that get us, because they're the ones we try to turn into life. I mean, Christ. I wish I could believe that bozo in Coldplay when he tells me that the stars are yellow. I miss that girl. I wish I was Lloyd Dobler. I don't want anybody to step on a piece of broken glass. I want fake love. But that's all I want. And that's why I can't have it. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacy. Happy holidays. My heart feels warm and open after that. I don't know. I'm like really embarrassed to admit that I like Coldplay. It's true though. Okay. So people who came in later, sign-up sheet is on the mini table over there. Refreshments are in the back. Bathroom is back here. Around to the right. And if we need more chairs, we can do that too. Okay. So Angel, you're up next.
So my writing is less about love and more about part of my trip to the Feminist Porn Awards. It's untitled. On the dance floor, she came up to me and started dancing with me and talking with me. She wore a polka dot dress, white-rimmed glasses, and had a giant white bow in her blue hair. She whispered things in my ear, and they made me blush. But this isn't where it began. This was our second meeting, though the first was only a couple days earlier, exchanging names. I saw her having sex before even talking to her, and she was captivating. She directed and starred in the first film at the launch party for the Feminist Porn Awards. In it, she wore a long blue period gown, sitting in a claw bathtub with a trans guy, music in the background. It was the most artsy fisting video I've ever seen. I thought about her and her video until I saw her again at the dance party following the awards. She must have thought about me as well, the way she focused on me. The party eventually thinned out, people leaving to sleep or continue their evenings elsewhere. The look in her eye, the things she said, the way she felt against me encouraged me not to go to sleep the rest of the night like some of the others. She was thinking the same thing and asked if I had a room. I did not, but surely one could be obtained. It is not as easy as one might think to find a room in Toronto last minute after midnight. I think we drove around for over an hour, most hotels being both too expensive and full for the night. We ended up driving to the outskirts, finally finding something. She paid for half the room. Is it anonymous if you know their name? What if it's not their real name, but you have their phone number? And what if you have no plans to see them again after, living halfway across the country? Anonymous. Not identified by name, of unknown name. Not by definition, but possibly in spirit. I remember her eyes and her smile, the careful way we laid our awards dresses on the table, the less careful way we touched each other. I have a copy of her film, so I can be reminded of the night we first met as well. Perhaps we'll meet again, perhaps not. Thank you.
Thanks, Angel. I still really love this bit of like the question about anonymous, you know?
Alright, we are 2/3 of Boob Dylan in the No Shave Novembers, but Boob Dylan could make it. You might have seen us at the drag show last Friday. This is what we look like without beards. So this is When I Decide by my terrible friend.
Thank you, Allison and Lorenzo. Hopefully you have another ditty prepared so you can play again at the end. Awesome. Okay, so a couple announcements before the next person goes. One, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Aaron, by the way. I always forget that. Two is that, so I just got done taking this really amazing meditation class by a queer woman named Mary Chapman. I don't know if anyone knows her. So she has offered to run a queer meditation group starting February 6th. So we have about 8 people interested right now. She wants about 12. So if you're interested, on the back of the sign-up sheet, I've made a place for your name and email. So that's something that you might be into. Just put your name down. It's going to be Monday nights from 6:30 to 8:30, so it's 2 hours. She's having it range between like $200 and $240, and she is very she's willing to work with you on that, so like you can do sort of a payment plan, so it doesn't all have to be at once. But if you're interested, she's awesome. It's a really amazing experience, and you like get to be with a bunch of queers while you're doing it. So I think that's extra cool. So if you're interested, just sign up on the back of the sheet, or if you want more information, you could just email me, find me in the world of Facebook queerness somewhere, I don't know, or talk to me afterwards, that's possible too. Secondly, Della has a petition, a recall thing to sign if no one signed it yet. So has anyone not signed it? It's true, right, like, right, okay. That's okay. We're not into public shaming here. We support you. We understand people have had busy weeks, you know, so if you'd like to sign it afterwards, please do. That's our love and affirmation. So Lisa, you're up.
Well, this is about my ex, and I worked with her mom today, so this is where it's coming from. 525,600 minutes have gone by since the last time I saw your family. A year of loss, pain, and bewilderment. On one hand, and on the other, a new friendship, a lover, and a job. The past year has been hard getting over you. I missed you so much in the beginning. There were so many days that I wanted to call, beg you to come back to me, to forgive me. However, your lies and deception, faking your death, hacking my Facebook page, left my heart bleeding and broken, beyond repair. So I thought. If I went back to you, I would have lost much more, because with you, I lost my self-respect, my dignity, my dreams, my hopes, and most of all, myself. When I left you, I couldn't see over the rainbow at that time. If I had stayed with you, I wouldn't have grown as a person. I got a letter the other day telling me when your last pretrial hearing would be. 525,600 minutes ago, I would never have thought that I would have to face you again, let alone in a courtroom. I worked with your mom today, and maybe that is why you seem to be on my thoughts. I feared working with your mom for so long, however, I only saw her for about 5 minutes, and in the last 2 days, maybe she was trying to stay away from me, or maybe it was just that both your mom and the SEA that I was subbing for just don't see each other during the day. I always enjoyed talking to your mom and found it just as easy now as it was back then. She said hi and asked how I was doing. I didn't tell her much because the last time I told you and your family how my life was going, you dragged my name through the news and courts. I fell in love with a woman then. I fell in and out of love with her. Joined a writer's group and go on open nights. Friends who are there for me, who care about me and how I am feeling, who don't get mad at me for not always doing what they want. And I have finally found my own voice. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in my life? Well, this is how. You look up as I stand on a hill and yell, look at me, I'm a new person, and you cannot hurt me. I have learned a new way to love, to live, and to be me.
Thank you, Lisa. I think we could like do a whole theme night on exes. Because, you know, we like might go into like the wee hours of the morning. No? No? Okay. Right, but Thanksgiving's tomorrow. All right. That's cool. All right. Good point. Thank you, Audrey. Let's keep it focused here. But thanks, Lisa, for the powerful piece and empowerment. Okay. Bridget. Awesome.
I am up here because there's I'm going to read anything, and I have a little poem here. I recognize a few faces. I know Angel. I know a few people around here. I moved with my partner to the west side about a year ago. So it almost feels like I'm coming back, and I've been on the east side for many, many years. And I feel like, oh my God, I've been gone forever. It's so good to see you guys. Good to see you. Yeah. So I'm a writer. I write young adult literary fiction. I write really edgy stuff. I've had a really hard time getting commercial publishers to look at it. I just landed an agent in February. Yep, he's not afraid of queer content, and some of my stuff has that. And I just sent him my second novel, and so we'll just keep our fingers crossed. And this is a poem that this audience will appreciate, although when I first wrote it, it was a exercise to take your phone number and write it down the side of the page, and you could write as many letters for each line of the poem as was in your phone number. 0 was allowed. And I was in a very straight audience, and I still read it. And I still get nervous, you know, when I have to really be who I am authentically on a stage. It's still really like, oh, it's hard sometimes. So, what I learned in 6th grade, it wasn't wise to be good at kickball. Right, Dyke? That's what they called you. After Mickey Rochelle's rocket hard gut punch. Everyone knows who rules the school. Right, Dyke? David threw flat, tying a bulging-eyed fly to a string of my long brown hair. Mickey Rochelle reaching over to rip off its wings. The fly frantically buzzing. Green eyes like mine. Stuck somewhere between understanding and death.
Thanks, Bridget. We're glad you're back in Madison. I hope you come back and read some more poetry.
Just on the east side. I'm just on the west side. Bridget Birdsall. So I'm in Madison.
No, I believe, but like we're glad you're back on the east side, you know? Like this is where all good things happen. So welcome back. Yeah, I remember my third announcement, which is this empty vase. I'm gonna pass it around. If you have anything to contribute, that'd be great. If not, no worries. As we pay for the space here, so same old gig. And now I remember. I forgot for a minute who was up next. Who's Kiki?
Hi. So I'm going to try out a vignette that's from a larger piece I'm working on about having grown up with a parent who demonstrates many of the traits of borderline personality disorder. And so it's like kind of a therapy piece. I hope it's not a huge bummer. We were still small enough to crawl under the bed and out of view that day in search of her keepsakes. Our mother hoarded everything we made as children. Her dresser drawers crushed the petals of a 3D poster board flower I had crafted at school per my teacher's instructions.
and inscribed with the day's vocabulary. Beautiful, loving, and generous. A chalkboard of spoon-fed gratitude, because nothing says Happy Mother's Day like someone else's words. My tiny face beaming from the flower's center, my blonde hair teased by the black plastic teeth of a picture day comb, a snapshot of who I was when my parents weren't looking, a snapshot of my secret life as a second grader, a snapshot of my forever second life because I'd always be my mother's daughter first, because I'd always be her firstborn, her angel, and her confidant. We were still small enough to crawl under the bed and out of view that day when we learned it was her birthday and had nothing to give, and neither art supplies nor a teacher's steady hand to help us write, I love you, Mom. 3 sets of blue eyes scanning the relics of our earliest years, the years when our mother called us her Aryan living dolls and clothed us in matching dresses when the electricity was not shut off and when there was someone to be impressed by her half-German babies, her 3 most prized possessions, her stepladder of pride and joy, little, littler, and littlest, one of us having been born every 2 years, like ducks in a row, or rather, sitting ducks for the husbands she prescribed. Like breeding horses or Mendelian genetics, the statistical likelihood that blonde-haired, blue-eyed grandbabies would surround her in family portraits. My mother, the great matriarch of righteousness in a field of tulips, her precious offspring bending towards the light. We were still small enough to crawl under the bed and out of view that day as my sisters and I reworked homemade valentines we had given our mother the year before, adding new words and sketches for embellishment. I cannot remember if she found us in her bedroom, caught red-handed in the act of mutilating that which she cherished most, or if I watched her face twist from delight to horror as she realized what we had done and raged against our offering. All I remember is 3 blossoms at her feet, 3 playing cards painting white roses red, and her ruthless decree, off with their heads. I am not sure when I realized that my mother's May 9th birthday would always fall on or around Mother's Day. What I do know for sure is that the following year, I saved my allowance to buy her something really nice, something practical and safe, wrapped in responsibility and remorse, that would set the bar as to what a gift to one's mother from her 8-year-old daughter should be. A digital alarm clock. And I imagined my mother accessing the aquamarine earbud stowed in a clear plastic door on the clock's right side and tuning into Light FM. I imagined her calm and content, and I inventoried my capacities. And I surveyed my actions for missteps taken, and I scoured my tongue for words misspoken, and I tried to please her. And my open heart hardened, and I let her stroke my hair, but I did not feel it. And I replied, I love you too. Words misunderstood. And I learned to do things her way. My mother, the Queen of Hearts. 20 years later, having just sent my mother a dual-purpose birthday Mother's Day musical greeting card that played Phil Collins's You'll Be in My Heart. I told my therapist that I would never send a Hallmark card to someone I truly loved.
Thanks, Kiki. I think working through parent shit is hard. So, appreciate the courage to put that first here. Thanks. An announcement I forgot to make last time, per Danny's request, is that she brought delicious, amazing cookies as well, but they have nuts in them. So if you have nut allergy, please stay away from them unless you're feeling dangerous tonight. And otherwise, could you let us know beforehand so we know how to handle the situation? Thank you. All right, Lorenzo, you're up again.
Thanks for guitar, Allison. I feel a little. I've been listening to a lot of Peaches lately. I don't know if you get. Which, of course, the universe balances out by making me write country songs, apparently. And it's fairly new, so we'll see if I can remember my own words. I see your name on the screen as an incoming call. I won't give another thought to the good sex at all. Many months and hours ago, you never played mine. And as I walk past your house on my way to everywhere, I won't climb up the porch to see if you are there to check upon your day. 'Cause just this week everyone stopped laughing with your voice. Just this week everyone stopped smiling with your lips, and they've all stopped wearing your perfume. And out of silk on the tongue to feel the kiss. And you won't find me at the bar with my friends. You'd never know I'll be out living life. There's more to do after all. So as you walk past my house on your way to everywhere, I will make a point of look. When I know that you're up there, I'll go about my day and how if I feel sad. 'Cause just this week everyone stopped laughing with your voice. Just this week everyone stopped smiling with your lips. Just this week I stopped wearing your perfume. I stopped sucking my tongue to feel your kiss. Just this week, well, I'm myself again. Just this week, I claim ownership of this hopelessly optimistic mind. And I've heard that you have quite the collection, so it's hard for me to make a connection between your 3 glasses of cheap red wine my Tuesday night. So when I see your name on the screen as an incoming call, I won't think another thought of the great sex at all. That was your girl, but you were never played mine. Just this week, I'm myself again. Just this week, well, I've claimed ownership of this hopelessly optimistic mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo, for playing again. I appreciate that. For those of you who know me well, and maybe for those who, I'm somewhat of a sentimentalist. I'm kind of cheesy. That's how I roll. Thank you. Thanks, Stacy. Make it a little bit easier. So I wrote tonight. I have a gratitude list with 58 items. Thank you for that. Thank you. So I'm going to read that as my piece tonight. All right. So these are the things I'm grateful for this year, and in parentheses. Although for those of you who know me well, you might have experienced my gratitude expressed more as cynicism, grump, and hopelessness for those things that cause me anxiety and are new. Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So I won't number them. I'll just read them. But all right. Good queers in my life. peanut butter. My nephew, he reminds me that pure joy still exists. Perspective, meditation, healing, self-compassion, mistakes, like dating the same person twice, writing in words, music, my hands, the inception of Queerspeak, Philadelphia, meeting God at the BP station in March, healing, conflict, resolve, good fun with the good queers in my life, read, dance parties, camping, canoeing, and beverage consumption. Everything in there, yes. Queer sex workshops at Michigan, body hair, friendship, doing new things, growth, Earl Grey tea, asking questions, not settling, walks, vulnerability, dancing, healing, the darkness, the light, the possibility of change, being held, balance, love, anger, heartbreak, trees, good sex, ice cream, Gap online shopping, silence, boundaries, sunsets, touch, taking risks, tears, laughter, forgiveness, understanding, fear, loneliness, road trips, northern Wisconsin, longing, firsts, and good queers in my life. Thank you. I'm feeling grateful this year. I can't remember who. Can you peek from me? Stacy. Again.
Holler to the queers in the back. All right. Okay, I'm going to read something original this time. I read this at Edgewood, so for those who were there and have heard this before, thanks for bearing with me. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Aaron. Okay. I'm not a queer. I'm disembodied. An offhand utterance in William Burroughs' Queer. It made me stop. Stop thinking, stop processing, stop being present. Disembodied. Adjective. 1. Lacking a body or freed from the body. Incorporeal. 2. Lacking in substance, solidity, or any firm relation to reality. I look down at myself, and the only thing that tells me I'm inhabiting this body are the synapses firing inside my brain that register pain when I pinch myself. I do not dislike this body. I enjoy the curves and contours afforded to me by the laws of the double X chromosome. Breasts, hips, I find these things pleasing, and I think I look acceptable. Some days I think I look good, but I feel trapped in this body. Not the way others feel trapped. I feel trapped because I can't be a shapeless mist that transcends this body, any body. Floating through the air, learning and experiencing things from a purely voyeuristic point of view. I can't follow you around corners and watch as you perform mating rituals in order to attract someone to you. I can't watch the way people flowing in and out of the city look like ants scurrying through tunnels in an ant farm. I can't feel your breath on my face when you sigh in some kind of fresh weightlessness when you finish brushing your teeth. I don't interest me. You interest me. The person sitting next to you interests me. I am not interesting. I'm not interesting. This shell I must travel in is not interesting. Paying money to adorn this vehicle makes my brain spin inside my skull with how ridiculous it is. How does my wearing Chuck Taylor sneakers or Doc Marten boots or a Vera Wang dress or a Versace suit say anything about me? How can you look at me with the ornaments shielding my naked form and decide whether or not you want to know me? It's chemical. Whether or not you want to try to get my number, kiss me, fuck me up, shut me down, all floods of chemicals that seep into your brain, directing your actions without your permission. It's tedious. Primal. I don't like it. And while the pull of lust is something I find heady and dizzying. It is undeniable. I am a slave to my baser instincts. It makes me ill. Dress me up in pleasantries and plaid, and I still react instinctually like my ancestors before me. I can't help but ask, aren't we better than that? Aren't we better than the desire to hump those with symmetrical body geography? Flared hips, high cheekbones, square jaws. We've touched the stars and bent cells to our whims. We're mere heartbeats away from ordering our children like we order our food. Is it possible to contract a bit of control? Lacking any firm relation to reality. Reality. Reality is relative. Relativity is real. I am real, I think. I think, therefore I am. But thinking does not require a body, only a mind. The mind exists outside of the body. Disembodied mind. Mind over matter. Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter never mind. They don't matter. They aren't matter. I think, therefore I am. I can't think for them. I can't prove they do. Only I am here. I am real. Real is relative. Reality is relative. Reality. Disembodied. Queer. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. That's one of my favorite pieces of yours. And thank you for bearing with the cold. This wasn't labeled as like a cuddling party, but if people need to like lean into one another, please feel free to. There's no judgment here. It's supported. And thank God Mishan is up next, because it's been too long since I've heard it, so get up here.
I don't need the mic. Those cookies back there look so good. I want to get one on the way off. My God, it'd be so weird. I would chocolate in my teeth. Oh. Alright, these aren't my poems. They are Andrea Gibson poems from her new book, The Madness Space. Sounded like The Madness Space. It's Madness Space. She's incredible. Today was a really long day for me because I was like, oh, Queerspeak, I'm so excited. And then I was like, I don't have a poem. And then I got really anxious, which we all know I do. And then I was like, when I get really anxious or just like, I can't move. So then sometimes I read Andrea Gibson poems out loud until I thaw out and can function again. So this is kind of me doing that, and I wanted to share. I have a couple that I love the whole book, and you should go buy it at writebloody.com and support her. But I hope you like them. She'll be here, Dr. Audrey. And Michonne's opening for her. Woo! Yeah. That's a weird reality. Alright. This one's called Gospel Salt. Sometimes I get so nervous when I speak, I can feel my heartbeat in my tongue. And my heartbeat talks faster than an auctioneer, but this is the last place I would ever try to sell you something from. When I get really scared, I imagine my enormous grandmother standing behind me with her pipe organ arms hugging tight around my chest. She says, listen, I know you run your mouth so your mind can rest. Now rest. Is no broken levee staring up at the water. It is the bite marks a mother leaves on the hurricane while her daughter climbs to the 9th Ward rooftop to spray paint. We are still here. Yes, we are. While some days we will barely get our feet wet, most of the time we'll have to wake and shake the tidal wave off our music stands to make space for the notes of a brass-knuckled saxophone carrying the tattered hope of the ocean's prayer. All these words are just paper boats praying they can get there. Tell me we will get there before we come up broke, believing that people, like levees, have to hold themselves together when often it's the falling apart that gives them the grace that ensures no one ever builds a condo over their open hearts. 3 years after Katrina, I found a seashell beneath an oak tree in New Orleans City Park. I can still
I can still hold it to my ear and hear the song the folk singer sang the night she left so much blood on her guitar strings, and I knew I had never before been touched right. Knew we could be instruments if we could just let our pipe strings be tuned by the lightning. Tune me to the thunder. I am already shaking like a matador's hands, like California shook in the 1906 earthquake when 28,000 buildings fell, and the people said, when 28,000 buildings fall, do you know how many walls are no longer there? All that was left between them was the gospel salt of their sweat as they carried each other from the rubble to the street, where each night they carried the piano to be played by a new refugee. Some wishes can only be made on the stars' dust. I know most of the time my shine cannot hold a match to my rust, so ask me about the rain. I'll tell you my mother says, the thing about wheelchairs is they keep you looking up. Says, forests may be gorgeous, but there's nothing more alive than a tree that learns to grow in a cemetery. So when my grandmother died, I started wearing her thimbles on my fingers when I'd type out poems, hoping every key I'd type would sound like a footstep of someone coming home, the way my friend came home from Iraq and named his baby daughter Viva. We have all fought for our lives more than we know, survived our own questions. How does one grieve a poisoned sea, a bleeding gulf? Can even the moon handle that kind of gravity, that pull to surrender? I say science can split an atom, but what if Eve could put Adam back together by reminding him the garden is just a seed, sometimes so small it can fit on the tip of your tongue? Say flint. Say spark. Say, this is me hitchhiking with a green thumb, hoping to grow something in the trust of someone picking me up on a day I have fallen for the wreckage. Remind me that the most fertile lands were built by the fires of volcanoes. Plant my feet in one thing that flowers when everything else erupts. Usman, an immigrant from Pakistan, cannot stop saying, brother, 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 to the Jewish man whose hand he held down 98 flights of stairs to escape the fall of the Twin Towers. That is the only hour I can set my heart to. The moment we realize something, sometimes it is the metal in the wind chimes that remind us how soft the breeze is. Maybe my grandmother only believed in Jesus because she believed he came back wearing that whip on his back like a halo. Either way, this world has picked me enough times for the madness face for me to know sanity is not running from the window when the lightning comes. It's turning the thunder into grace, knowing sometimes the break in your heart is like the hole in the flute. Sometimes it's the place where the music comes through. Don't you just want to, marry her? Yeah. That's great. I don't know. And she's not even your type. She's everyone's type, Aaron. The other one, okay. So, do you like it? Do you like Andrea? Because I have another poem that's a little bit the same length, and I love it. I want to share it with you. Otherwise, I have a shorter one. Do you care? You don't care? Okay. So you get another one. This is actually the poem. I've never opened a present before Christmas. I love surprises. I don't ruin surprises. I don't skip to poems and poetry books. And I did. For the first time ever. Because I was getting to the end of the book. I'm like, where is it? Where is it? Where's the poem? It was here. Patience. Alright. This is called I Sing the Body Electric. I feel so awkward. Just hey Andrea, somewhere in Wisconsin, some girl's reading your poems to a group of old people. Anywho.
Yeah, me too.
Alright. I sing the body electric, especially when my power's out. I have weather veins. They are especially sensitive to dust storms and hurricanes. When I'm nervous, my teeth chatter like a wheelbarrow collecting rain. I'm rusty when I talk. It's the storm in me. The doctors say someday I might not be able to walk. It's in my blood like the iron. My mother is tough as nails. She held herself together the day she could no longer hold my knees. We said, our kneecaps are our prayer beds. Everyone can walk further on their kneecaps than they can on their feet. This is my heartbeat. Like yours, it is a hatchet. It can build a house or tear one down. My mouth is a fire escape.
The words coming out don't care that they are naked. There is something burning in here. When it burns, I hold my own shell to my ear, listen for the parade from when I was 7, when the man who played the bagpipes wore a skirt. He was from Scotland. I wanted to move there. Wanted my spine to be the spine of an unpublished book, my faith the last and first page. The day my ribcage became monkey bars for a girl hanging on my every word, they said, "You are not allowed to love her." Tried to take me by the throat to teach me, "You are not a boy." I had to unlearn their prison speak. Refusing to make wishes on the star on the sheriff's chest, I started talking to the stars in the sky instead. I said, "Tell me about the Big Bang." The stars said, "It hurts to become." I carry that hurt on the tip of my tongue and whisper, "Bless your heart." Every chance I get, so my family tree can be sure I have not left. You do not have to leave to arrive. I am learning this slowly. So sometimes when I look in the mirror, my eyes still look like the holes in the shoes of the shoe shine man. My hands are busy on the wrong things. Some days I call my arms wings. While my head is in the clouds, it will take me a few more years to learn flying is not pushing away the ground, but safety isn't always safe. You can find one on every gun. I'm aiming to do better. This is my body. My exhaustion pipe will never pass inspection, and still my lungs know how to breathe like a burning mat every time I get lost in the curtain of her hair. Find me by the window, following my past to a trail of blood in the snow. The night I opened my veins, the doctor who stitched me up asked me if I did it for attention. For the record, if you have ever done anything for attention, title it with your name. This poem is attention. It will pace the city bridge every midnight you stand, kicking at your shadow, staring at the river. It does not want to find your body doing anything but loving what it loves. Love what you love. Say, "This is my body. It is no one's but mine." This is my nervous system, my wanting blood, my half-tamed addictions, my tongue tied up like a ball of Christmas lights. If you put a star on the top of my tree, make sure it's a star that fell. Make sure it hit bottom, like a tambourine. Because all of these words are just stories for the staircase to the top of lungs where I sing what hurts, and the echo comes back saying, "Bless your heart, bless your body, bless your holy kneecaps, they are so smart. You are so full of brain. There is so much that's growing. Hallelujah to your weather veins. Hallelujah to the ache. Hallelujah to the full and to the fall, to the pull and to the pain. Hallelujah to the grace in the body, in every cell of us all."
Thanks for representing me, Sean.
Word.
Word. Your poem hug. All right, I'm going to call my original gay boyfriend up to read a piece now. Shannon.
Hello. Thank you, gay boyfriend. This is just kind of, I'm just reading tonight to kind of like get back into the practice of creative stuff. So, yeah, thank you for listening. The title of this piece is called "Reading the Lower Wisconsin State Riverway Visitors Newspaper as a Thinly Veiled Instructional Manual for Behaving Appropriately in Community." Do you need me to read that over again? Okay, yes. Okay. A slightly smaller version of Paul Bunyan, clad in flannel with a neatly trimmed reddish beard, helped us unload the car and gave us a meaty thumbs up when he saw the pro-union protest sign in the trunk. He's a special education teacher in Boscobel, working for a family-owned canoe rental business for the summer. As he drove us to the river, he talked about his efforts to make his students understand that they are under attack, that they should care about what's going on in politics, and that they are in fact poor. He pointed out the window to a yard filled with concrete sculptures of animals and said poverty. After our canoe was in the water, loaded with gear, Paul Bunyan lifted his baseball cap with his right hand and tousled his hair with his left, occasionally stopping to spread his fingers and cup his entire head in his left hand. I could feel the canoe tilting heavily toward the right because we had not balanced the beer-filled cooler in the center. Our spines curved unnaturally to the left to compensate for the weight. Paul said, I guess I could tell you some things. When you stop on sandbars, aim for the upstream side. The downstream side of sandbars can be undercut, and you might think you're walking on solid ground, and then swoosh, you fall through and you're underwater. Also, if you tip the canoe, you shouldn't try to cross the river to swim for the shore right away. You just gotta let the current move you downriver and slowly make your way to shore at an angle. Don't fight it too much, save your energy. And have fun! I adjusted my spine to lean even further toward the left, making a 45-degree bend at my torso, cinched my cheap-ass orange life vest even tighter, and tried to use the paddle to push the cooler toward the center, even though we were only in a foot of water. Paul got back into the truck and drove away. A middle-aged man and his 11 or 12-year-old daughter paddled into the dock and leapt easily out on the land. The middle-aged man was overly friendly in that kind of damn near creepy way and immediately engaged us in conversation. His daughter had pale, spindly legs and was wearing a matching mauve shirt and short set with thick-rimmed round glasses. I smiled at the girl, and she made direct eye contact with me without moving a muscle in her face. She carried a vacant tension in her expression that made me think she either had a cognitive disability or was extremely intelligent. Same difference sometimes. We started to paddle off, and the girl said, "Each bundle of wood in your canoe will burn for approximately 45 minutes. Yeah, creepy, right? And she continued to stare at us as we moved away. When we got comfortable moving the paddles, I braved a small squat to reach the Lower Wisconsin State Riverway Visitor's newspaper, tucked in a bag in the middle of the canoe. In bold font on the front page, it read, "River Ethics." Have a good time. Pick up after yourself, and don't bother others. Immediately, I began to think too hard about how to qualify or quantify the idea of bothering others, and I started to make lists of things that bother me. It would bother me to pass a canoe in which someone was blasting the song "Who Let the Dogs Out." The concealed carry bill bothers me, and it would bother me to see a man walking around with a gun on the sandbar. Would it bother him to see a bunch of dykes walking around on the same sandbar? We would probably just be in a vicious bothering circle. So we should probably avoid each other at all, so as not to bother each other. And then I remembered that we were supposed to be having fun now, and problematized my own thought process by berating myself for not relaxing. Sound familiar to some of you? I saw myself as the little girl on the shore, staring at the other canoers with detached curiosity, much like they were zoo animals, and unblinkingly asking them, "How do you describe what it means to bother others?" A couple hours in, I got used to the thrill of pissing on a sandbar in the middle of the river. I became so obsessive about the freedom of sticking my ass in the air that I started to get sloppy, didn't squat at the right angle, and pissed on my leg. I tried to avoid eye contact with my girlfriend as she pissed because she kept saying, "Don't look at me when I pee." We were already restructuring our new society. The only rule so far was, don't make eye contact with anyone who's peeing because it bothers them. As the hours went on, I began to hope that I would step on the edge of a sandbar that collapsed, or tip the canoe so I would have a chance to practice not fighting the current to get to shore. I'm constantly waiting to welcome things that frighten me so I can cross them off my list, building a schematic framework for traumas of varying degrees so I know how to categorize and create action steps. I often wonder how easy it is to go about canceling your cards and getting a new driver's license when you get mugged. Part of me has a fierce anticipatory desire to get mugged, so I know that I will know how to handle it better when it happens the next time. 4 hours later, we found the perfect island to camp at. Someone had buried a log in the beach with a fork up the top, creating a 6-foot-tall Y that extended from the sand. After we got the fire started, my girlfriend sat on my lap and pushed her tongue into my mouth. Nature makes her hot. We were sitting on a tie-dyed sheet with a large sun and moon print and wearing sarongs. I didn't know that was funny. I looked over her shoulder at the Y-shaped log started to look very vulvic. Somewhere in the dusk miles away, coyotes started to howl. I took in the coyotes, giant vulva log, moon, and sun-patterned sarong and tongue, and suddenly I felt like I was in a 70s lesbian short film. In the morning, I woke up before my girlfriend, strangely exhilarated about learning how to take a shit on an island. I considered it another thing to cross off my list, so I would have developed a skill set for the next time I have to shit on an island. I pulled out the Lower Wisconsin State Riverway Visitors newspaper and carefully read the section on Leave No Trace camping. It read, "Nobody likes to find human waste by accident when they are disposed of improperly." I learned that the proper depth for burying shit is 6 inches. But I was surprised to learn that burying shit deeper is not necessarily better, since it inhabits the bacteria that break down the waste. I could finally stop trying to develop criteria for what it means to bother others when I realized that it is as simple as burying your shit deep enough that no one inadvertently steps in it, but not so deeply that it can't break down over time.
Thank you, Shannon. I love that piece. It might have been funnier the second time. It's good. So thank you. I'm glad your creative juices are flowing. And no one looked Kiki in the eye. Oh, shit. All right. So I don't know. That's the end unless anyone feels really inspired to either come back up or to say something or read something. Anybody? No. All right. Well, thank you all for coming out. This was great. I'm glad that we could have it the night before holiday, that everyone was in Madison. I think it afforded some people who couldn't normally come to come out, so that's great. So next month is going to be on December 28th, and so it's still around the holidays. I don't know how that feels for people. Yeah, all right. December 28th it will be. It might be a little colder, so I encourage you to dress warmly or bring a cuddle partner, blankets. Yeah, hot toddies. So, refreshments in the back if you'd like. You can mix and mingle, and thanks for coming, queers. We'll see you next month.
And that's our show for this month. The Queerspeak podcast is released on an attribution, non-commercial, no derivatives license. In short, you can share it, but don't change it, and don't sell it. Our music is used by the permission of Mind Map That. This is their song, The Oregon Trail.
Exhaustion, Reuben a broken leg. wretched dysentery. Just farmers from Illinois trying to make our way across these rough and wild states, along the Oregon Trail, the treacherous Oregon Trail. Just a wagon and spare parts, 3 yoke of oxen to pull, food packed to get us through, bullets to hunt if we run out. Hannah has the measles, Reuben has cholera, Wyatt has typhoid, Martha has dysentery, that wretched dysentery. We'll only stop when we must. We'll travel fast in the gold rush. If someone dies, we'll dig a grave, then we'll be on our way. We'll be on our way. Dehydration, heavy fog, inadequate grass for our ox, rivers to forge, impassable trails, deserts, blizzards, and wagon fires. We'll only stop when we must. We'll travel fast in the gold rush. If someone dies, we'll dig a grave, then we'll be on